So how long does the Catholic annulment process really take? Well, the short answer is anywhere from 12 to 18 months, but that time frame is measured from a starting point that no one really identifies when you start going through the annulment process. And that's what I'd like to clarify because it causes a lot of confusion. Now, not only have I worked with divorced Catholics for more than 25 years, but I also have been through the annulment process myself as a petitioner, and now I'm a trained case assistant. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 things that you actually have control over in your annulment timeline. I'm also going to clarify some of the confusion surrounding the fast-track annulment that came out of Pope Francis's 2015 administrative changes. The most common point of confusion comes from the fact that the 12 to 18 months begins after your case has been accepted by the tribunal. So if you started your paperwork in, say, January, and 2 years later you're still waiting to hear a decision, nothing's gone wrong. You just were counting a different 12 to 18 months than the tribunal was. Now, there are a lot of things that have to happen to prepare your case. You're asking the church to take a look into your dating, engagement, and marriage relationship to see if you had a valid marriage to begin with. And so what that requires is a lot of information that you need to provide. And there are 3 things that you have control over that will reduce the time in getting your case to the tribunal. Now, when I was going through the annulment process and I received my paperwork to fill out, I took a look at some of the questions and I knew this was not something I could just fill out in an hour. I was going to have to revisit the story of my marriage and divorce, and I needed to be emotionally prepared for that. It was going to take time. And so what I had to do was I actually reserved a weekend for me to be by myself. And during that weekend, I made sure that I had time to reflect and go through all those pertinent details that they wanted to know about. A lot of the questions that you'll be asked are very personal in nature, and that's simply because marriage is very personal in nature. The church isn't trying to pry or see dirty laundry. They just want to have the best and clearest idea of what happened so they can make an informed decision. So my first recommendation is block off some time where you can be alone and thoughtfully go through the questionnaire. It's very important that you provide as much information as possible so the canon lawyers can get the best informed picture possible. Now, the length of time the annulment process takes also depends on the length of time your witnesses take to submit their testimony. Now, your witnesses are simply relatives, friends, loved ones who can give an objective account about your dating relationship and your marriage relationship. And the tribunal will send them a questionnaire to fill out. Sometimes the witnesses feel that the questions are too personal, but one thing that you can do to help is let them know that they are helping you, that you understand the personal nature, and that you are okay with them giving their objective viewpoint on your relationship, because it's only going to help your case. The length of time it takes in the annulment process also depends upon your ex-spouse and whether or not he or she will participate. Now, if your ex-spouse decides not to participate, it's not going to stop the process. But a lot of times they may drag their feet. Now, if you have a decent relationship with your ex-spouse, just reach out and let him or her know that they'll be receiving a questionnaire from the tribunal. They're free to send it back without responding, but the hope is that they will give their side of the story. And so there you have the 3 things that are important for you as the petitioner to do to keep the annulment process rolling and on track. Submit your paperwork in a timely manner. Ask your witnesses to submit their paperwork in a timely manner. And reach out to your ex-spouse to find out whether they'll be participating. The next step is the case assistant, or also called the annulment advocate in some dioceses. We prepare the case. we have collected your paperwork, we have interviewed you, we have discussed the ground that your case will be positioned on, and we give our summary to prepare a completed case to submit to the diocese. After that, the rest is on the tribunal. The tribunal reviews the case and decides whether or not it is accepted as a formal case. Once a case has been accepted, it's going to have to get in line behind all the other cases in front of it. So that's important to keep in mind. But once the case is in front of the tribunal, they are diligent in their process of reviewing and making a determination. Now, I've encountered a lot of people who are confused and they expect the annulment process to take anywhere from 30 to 45 days. It comes from Pope Francis's administrative changes back in 2015. Now, there is a briefer process for some annulment cases, but here's the important thing. These briefer cases are rare. Let's look at what has to line up in order for your case to be considered in the fast-track process. First, both parties to a marriage must agree to the use of the briefer process. Second, evidence of invalidity must be very certain. Third, the parties and witnesses must be willing to take part in the interview at the tribunal. Fourth, the criteria used to determine the invalidity of the marriage remains the same, only the review process has been abbreviated. Fifth, the diocesan bishop makes the final decision. Finally, if the bishop decides the evidence is insufficient, then the case becomes a formal case and is subject to that 12 to 18 month time frame. And so I hope this clears up the confusion over how long the Catholic annulment process normally takes. I'm Lisa Duffy. Thanks so much for watching. And if this information was valuable to you, like and subscribe because there will be a lot more videos just like it.